Lawsuits. Hey, we often hear about lawsuits and people bringing lawsuits. Well, if something goes wrong, can you bring a lawsuit? Can you simply do it because something went wrong? Well, not always. And that brings us to this week's case. It involves a real case involving real people. 365,000 people. Where? In Oregon. What? Well, there was a hospital there. Had an employee who had the records on computer disks of 365,000 patients. Unfortunately, left them in the seat out of an automobile and they were stolen. Gone. Well, the hospital alerted the patient saying, hey, there's been a compromise of security and your records, in fact, may be in the hands of a third party. A number of the patients said, whoa, this is bad news. We could be subjected to actual theft of our identity. There could be all kinds of problems that will arise. Hey guys, you really screwed up there at the hospital and we're going to sue you. And they did. Sued the hospital. The case went to trial, or at least went to a trial court, didn't actually get to trial. And there were motions, and in the motions, the hospital basically argued, hey, all right, we screwed up. We screwed up. We should have better safeguarded those records. We're wrong. We did mess up, and we're sorry. But you can't bring a lawsuit just because we messed up, because you weren't hurt. There wasn't any injury that you suffered. I mean, after all, nothing happened. No one's identity was stolen. Nothing of an untoward nature happened, and therefore you just can't bring a suit because something went wrong. Well, on behalf of the patients, the argument was, hey, we at this point in time have to check our credit reports frequently. We have to see what's going on and whether or not somebody maybe is using a credit card without our permission because they got our identity, our social security number, and everything else out of those hospital records. Therefore, there is the possibility that we could have major damage, and we're right now scrambling to see that that doesn't happen. Hospital said, yeah, but you didn't suffer any injury, therefore you can't get anything. Well, the trial court threw the case out, said, hospital, you're right. Went up to the Oregon Supreme Court, and at the Oregon Supreme Court looked at the case and they said, all right, at common law, when you have cases between individuals, neighbors over a dispute on a fence, whether you have a automobile accident, whatever you have, and here we've got a hospital that did something, we've got patients upset with that, the hospital admits it was wrong, the patients say, hey, they could possibly be hurt as a result of this information floating around in the world, but they haven't been hurt. There is only the risk of harm. And they went on to point out that under Oregon law, before you can bring a suit for damages, you must have damages. You must have actual injury. You must have lost something. Something must have been damaged. Some property must have been in some way damaged or diminished in value. But here, there was no damage. No damage. And the simple risk, the speculation that there could be damage, does not give rise to a lawsuit. Okay. Why do we bring you this case? What's the lesson learned here? The lesson here is really very important because it's at the heart of every single lawsuit in which somebody sues somebody else. And that is, there has to be basically two things to get that lawsuit going. One, somebody has to screw up. An organization, here a hospital, or somebody else has to screw up, do something wrong, breach a standard of care. Two, there has to be actual injury, actual damages. Something had to happen to that person where they either suffered damage to their property or injury to themselves. And if that happens, then you've got that second major element and you can go forward on that lawsuit. A lawsuit basically in a vacuum where somebody kind of screwed up but didn't hurt anybody really is just in a vacuum. It's all speculation. And that's what the Oregon Supreme Court said. And that's why they decided the case as they did. All right. Hey, we bring you this case this week as we bring you cases every week so you understand how the law works. I'm David Allen.